right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. We are gathered today for Training Wheels Off, a new program sponsored by Victory over Internet Protocol. We're here to entertain and hopefully also inform and inspire you in your gameplay with PlanetSide 2. We've got featured guests today from Threegis. This is Karst, everyone. Let's
Hey,
welcome
wake up.
Karst to our little program.
Yay.
Yay!
All right. Thanks for coming, Karst.
Thanks for having me.
Let's see here. We're going to be recording this. Didn't Mean to Kill You is got us on record, and Damien Anton is our music engineer. Thank you, Damien. We're going to speak with Karst for about 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to get in game and play together until we get to the end of the hour. Folks, if you've got questions, go ahead and type it in the chat message box below, and we'll take your questions as we go along for the first part of the program. So, Karst, you are a Battle Rank 100, which is why we've invited you here. We're very impressed with those kind of accomplishments. So tell us, have you been hunting down pumpkins for in PlanetSide?
Yeah, I played a couple pumpkin alerts for the last couple days. Had a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely enjoying the new events. Something new and different to do.
Cool, cool. Karst is a middle school teacher, everyone, and so he's used to speaking in terms that we can understand, I hope. Even though we have a BR 100 here, I think you can help all level of gamers play today. So tell me, do the kids know about your secret identity?
No, I'm a big believer that you've got your work life and you got your personal life. At work, we've got certain things we've got to cover. We've got content we've got to get through. And it's my job to help facilitate acquisition of content. You don't need to know what I do in my free time. I don't need to know what you do in your free time. It's very important. It's very important in the classroom to just kind of say like, hey, look, I'm your teacher, right? I'm your happy to be a mentor, role model. I'm not your friend. And especially at the middle school level, you've got kids who are BFFs at first period, and by lunchtime they hate each other. So it's just really not. It's not my role. It's not my job. It's not my responsibility to do anything other than simply teach, guide, lead. It's not my job to be their friend, so to speak.
That's cool. So tell me, like, do parents ever come to you with a concern about their kids playing excessive amounts of video games?
No, not really. Typically, that's something that needs to be handled on an individual basis by parent. As a teacher, I think that video games are fine in moderation. It's also important at the middle school level to have time spent, interacting face to face with people. Obviously this builds people skills. This lets you work on communicating with others. And that's really important. I feel like communication is very important, and you know I think that the majority of video games today are not structured in such a way to foster communication and to foster interpersonal activity, right? So if you think about PlanetSide as a game, you're constantly working with your squad mates, you're working with your friends. Everything is based around interaction with people. And the majority of video games played by my students are, your Call of Duties, your Call of Duty. They play a lot of Call of Duty, and sometimes even Call of Duty. And I don't know that those sort of first-person console arena shooters are really geared towards interpersonal interaction. I think it's a lot of just kind of like a mindless grind. A lot of Grand Theft Auto as well. I don't know that really advocates the best things.
Right, right. So that doesn't necessarily enhance their communication skills at an important part time in their child development.
Right. I mean, it's important to be well-rounded. You know, yeah, and especially coming from me, my parents were not, I didn't have a console until I could buy one myself. And I think that really benefited me. I played sports and hated it. I took gym and hated it, and I hated going outside. But it's those experiences that sort of prepare you to deal with things in the future.
Well, there are studies that show that action games do enhance learning and attention and vision. So maybe there are some positive effects to gaming that kids can enjoy. But For the most part, I think we're all kind of in our little rooms with the lights off, playing video games on Saturday nights rather than other things. But let's talk about your Battle Rank 100. When did you hit that milestone?
Couple months ago, maybe a month ago, something like that. It's actually funny. I had this big whole thing planned out, right? So at the time, I was in Zen of Onslaught before they sort of disbanded, and I had all my friends, and I was like, okay, guys, I know how I'm gonna get my BR 100. We're all gonna meet in the Warp Gate before an op, the 24 of us, and I'm gonna throw down an ammo pack. Everybody's gonna shoot one pistol round in the air and reload, right? And that's gonna be my BR 100. But incidentally, I was trying to get close to it, got a resupply ribbon before the op, and there it was.
Oh, there it was. Anticlimactic.
Yes,
That's funny. Well, no, you only created your character earlier this year in February.
that's correct.
So you've been logging a lot of days, a lot of time in, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a BR 50 some TR and a BR 50 some NC as well as this tune. I think he's like BR 113 if you look at the total experience.
So if folks want to look your stats up in Planet Side, this is Karst 18 18 18 on the VS side. And for the TR side, your Karst 18 18. And
Yeah,
for
yeah,
NC,
the TR is 118, the NC is 218s, and the VS is 318s. I'm very original with my names.
and so the number 18 has some special meaning in your life?
Uh, yeah, so I was in like the fourth grade, right? And the cool thing in the fourth grade is to like have a lucky number, right? Well, seven's taken, nine's taken, but I was the 18th kid on my fourth grade teacher's roster, so 18
Ah,
became my lucky number.
there you go.
So it's not
Okay.
really lucky; it's sort of a number, I guess.
Um, and let's see here. It looks like you primarily play medic about half the time, 50% of the time,
Yeah.
and then 20% heavy, 20% NG. So it looks like a good amount of the time you're in a support class. How is it that you've gravitated towards the support classes?
Originally, when I joined PlanetSide 2, I was looking for a new game. I was looking for a team game, and I really like being a team player. I like being the guy that's saying, "All right, if we're moving on this base, I want to be able to pull the Sunder. I want to be able to pull the Galaxy. I want to facilitate, people having fun." And for me, I get a lot of enjoyment out of, holding on a cap point and having, everybody wipe, and me being able to throw that res grenade. That's some heavy players really like getting those headshots. Some infiltrators really like, sneaking up on people. I just kind of enjoy being, being a guy that you can count on to get stuff done. And the other thing was, I think on my TR, I've got something like 6% accuracy. I was really bad at FPS games, so I was like, if I happen to TK people accidentally, at least I can revive them. So
Oh,
that's the way I looked at it.
there you go. How often do you switch between, say, medic and a heavy, and accidentally shoot somebody instead, thinking that you've got your medic tool out?
Yeah, that happens frequently. You're in a harasser and you're like, okay, I got to get out and rep, and then you shoot a decimator in the side of your car. And you're like, well, that's not going to buff out. So, it happens. It happens pretty frequently. You think you're a medic, so you got a room full of friendlies, people are dying, and then you throw a concussion grenade, and you're like, oh dear.
Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I
Yeah,
know.
but
Oh,
that happens.
that's good. So let's see here. As can when we get in game, maybe you can show us your medic loadout.
Sure, I'll be happy to talk about that.
All right, so we'll do that when we get in game. Let's talk about squad leading. I imagine if you are playing one of the support classes and you're not being, you're not playing point on a charge into a base, then it's a little easier for you to be able to sit back and kind of give cues and directions. Let's talk about how you make that experience both fun and get to the ass kicking part of getting leading your squad. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Typically when I lead a squad, there's a couple of like sort of key things that I look at. The first is number one, having a set time. I think that it's not fair to your squad mates to say, okay, whenever I get online, you guys need to be ready to hop to because I'm the squad leader. I think that's really selfish, and I think that when you let people know that, hey, from the hours of 8 to 10, we're going to be running a squad. If you'd like to be there, that's awesome. I totally love to have you. If you're cool doing your own thing, that's fine as well. So I think that it's really important for people to know that you know, when we're in a squad, we're going to be running from this time to this time. The second thing is having clear expectations from the beginning. So I'll typically, start up a squad, during an off time and say, hey guys, we're running 8 to 10. Here's a couple of, quick rules to run down. First and foremost, I hope everyone's here, but to have fun. But if you do pick a class, please stay that class for the duration of the op. There's nothing worse than trying to hold a bio lab with two heavies and six infiltrators. It just doesn't. There's not that synergy. So I do request that people stay the class that they've chosen. If they want to switch, that's totally fine, but just kind of let me know so I can make sure that we've got all the bases covered. And if I need to pull in infiltrator, or if I need to pull medic or pull engineer, I can do that. The second thing is just to kind of lay out some baseline rules. And this is just to help facilitate a smooth running of the squad. So, the couple I go for is, number one, if please keep all non-game related comments to 0. And what that means is that, so some examples of this, some things that are appropriate are, hey, light assault go into our Sunder. Okay, can I get a repeat on the last request or the last order? Do we need a Sunday pulled? Hey, there's a guy coming up behind you. These are all type of things that are totally cool, totally fine. You're working with your squad. Things that I'm not a huge fan of as far as comms is, man, this is a really good ham sandwich, or damn, the jackhammer's OP, or why did I just die? Oh man, client side sucks. Well, yeah, I mean, you got TK'd. We all get TK'd. This is not, helping our mission. So I do request that people kind of keep those to as low as possible. Um, but as far as like leading a squad, I think it's really important to stay positive. I think it's really important to note when people are doing things well. Some people, and this is just my experience, I've been in squads with people before where they say, hey, you guys need to get on point, or, they'll start off and they'll just say, all right, everybody in the galaxy. And it's like, whoa, you can say hello. You can say, how are you? You don't have to be all, hardcore parkour in the warp gate. Just staying positive. I mean, you're not going to win every fight. Sometimes you roll into a fight and, like for example, I was leading a squad a couple weeks ago and we were at Ghana Tech Plant, right? We're going to do an inside out, which is basically where you go in, you drop down on the balcony and you suppress the point to allow your forces to kind of fall in. And right as we got there, we ran into a NC Max crash, and we just got shellacked, and it's important to say, hey, look,
User in your channel
you're
is
you're not going to
recording.
win everything, and just to understand that, all right, we'll take the loss, we'll regroup, but we're going to stay positive about it. This is not an issue of, oh well, if Karst had done his stupid job, then we wouldn't have wiped. He's the one that fucked up. And I think that those type of toxic personalities and those type of toxic comments, they turn people off. This is not their job. People, if they're not having a good time, if they're not enjoying themselves, they'll go somewhere else, and they'll go somewhere else in a heartbeat. And then you're leading a squad of nobody. So it's just really important to recognize, you're not, things are going to screw up. Take it in stride. The other thing is being complimentary. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be like, oh wow, what a great hold, guys, and it was a ghost cat. But if you see somebody doing something good or something positive, just give them a shout out. People like that affirmation to know that, hey, I sacrificed a couple of points. I sacrificed I dropped a life in order to res another guy. Just say, hey, big shout out to so and so because they totally ran in there, got 4 of our friendly guys up. This is really good. This is really positive. One of the things I like to do is I like to pull galaxies, and I'll request that everybody let's go ahead and redeploy to the galaxy, please, right? And then I'll give a shout out for the first person in the galaxy, because
Oh, that's cool.
you'll be right. You'll be on your grind. You'll get in the zone. You're just headshotting dudes and just you are death incarnate, right? And then your squad leader says, all right, guys, redeploy to the galaxy. And you're like, I'm on a 15 kill streak, dude. I got stuff to do. But, it does reward, or it does, provide some type of affirmation that as a squad leader, you see when people are sacrificing their own experience for the good of the group. And I think that that's so crucial.
Well, we are here for those short-term affirmations, are we not? This is all about, running after the shiny object and, getting a little gold nugget, whether it be a compliment or a headshot,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or just, winning that little mini duel. We really do want to have, some sort of positive reinforcement for whatever we're doing. And it moves so quickly. And it's nice to be able to get that in a social atmosphere as well. I mean, that distinguishes PlanetSide from other types of games where you're just running solo. So
Absolutely.
keep going. This is great. So you've got a couple of baseline rules. Do you have any others?
No, I mean, I don't think so. It's really important in my mind to be flexible. PlanetSide is a wildly flexible game. It's combined arms. You can have 50 to 100 people dropped on you out of nowhere, via redeploy side. So, it's just important to stay flexible. And if your guys are having a good time and they're kind of jawing a little bit, but they're getting the job done, it's not really important in my mind to say, "Hey guys, we got to keep comms clear." Like you kind of have to develop that rapport with people you're leading, because it's like, if I'm having a really good time, we're having fun, we're being successful, calls aren't missed, I really don't see there being a problem with talking. But it's important not to say that, hey, you guys can talk whenever you want, just make sure you're listening, because then there's no hard and fast rule. But if there is a hard and fast rule, we'll say, hey guys, we need to stay on topic. But if you get off topic and they're doing, everybody's doing what they're supposed to, then, it's at your discretion whether or not you call them on it.
So if you're just sitting there holding a point and you're just waiting for the clock to run down that last 20 seconds, you're saying that you can relax those rules. But when you're trying to coordinate and give orders and things like that, the added comments just kind of get in the way
Sure. Yeah.
of getting that message.
And that's one of those things where, if you're leading a pub squad, it's kind of like herding cats. You plop waypoints, you provide spawns, and you just hope that they follow you.
Hmm.
But if you're team speak, I found that the quickest way to lose a group of individuals is to be a hard ass. And that's not to say that, you're calling people SOBs and, dropping F bombs. Like, you don't have to do that. But, if people are having a good time, and they're enjoying themselves, like, you don't want to be the guy that's saying, okay, hey, we just capped a base, we just held off that max crash. You don't want to be
Right.
telling people, hey guys, shut up. Yeah, that was good, but we're on to the next base. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of give and take.
Yeah, you don't want to be a total.
Speaking of 15 streaks.
You don't want to be a buzzkill. So we have a couple questions that have been provided. Let's see. The first one came in from Sprack. He asks, when there isn't an alert on, what guides your choice of what to do as a squad or platoon lead?
Honestly, what I've found is that I'm a big fan of running ops, right? So organized, directed squad activity takes place during a certain time. Other times I feel like it's simply enough to just plop waypoints and, encourage people to be there. And what I do, if I'm leading squads consistently, is to say, hey guys, I'm going to be going here. Here's the waypoint. Here's the spawn. Here's the galaxy if you'd like to come. If you're doing your own thing, that's totally fine. Because what happens is, as a squad leader, every time you're on and you're cranked up leading a squad, you get burned out really quickly. So if there's not an alert on, you got maybe 5, 6 people on. That's when I really look to do different stuff. I love small fights. 12 to 24 is my bread and butter. That's what I enjoy the most.
Mm,
And
cool.
I think it's really fun to take those small fights and say, hey, if we got 6 people, let's get 2 heavies, 2 medics, and an Engie, and let's see, what we can do.
Mhm.
And likewise, you're saying, all right, well, I'm not saying you should troll negatively, but all right, well, how many people have stealth sky guards? Let's
Right,
roll a couple
right.
stealth, and just kind of have fun with it.
Switch it up, right?
Sure.
So there's different when you've got an alert situation, or if you're running ops, as opposed to just sort of an average afternoon or casual play. So we have another question. This is from Didn't Mean to Kill You. He asks, how do you keep a squad on its toes and engaged without nagging?
Yeah. So number one, it's really important to have clear goals, right? So if you're leading a squad, and let me just pull up the map. Let's say we're pushing on Galaxy Solar. I'd say something to the effect of, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to squad waypoint. This is Galaxy Solar. Please go ahead and make your way there. I'll have a Sunday up if you'd like to spawn in. If you'd like to grab a flash harasser or plane to make your way there, that's totally fine. But just please make sure you are heading to Galaxy Solar. So what I've done is I've told them where they need to be, but I give them freedom of choice of how they're going to get there. And it depends a little bit, if you're running sort of real hardcore, real structured, and everybody needs to be in the galaxy. For example, if you're trying to take down a tech plant,
Right, right.
you would say, all right, everybody, if you would please go ahead and redeploy to the galaxy.
So what do you do when people don't hit that? They don't get up in the air.
Well, it depends. If it's a squad of pubs, you say, all right. So let's say Bravo 9 is on another continent. you know,
Right,
let's say
right.
we just switch from Indar to SMR. You say, hey, and a lot of times I'll use in-game comms. That way, if they're not TeamSpeak, I'll say, hey, Bravo 9, just notice real quick that you're not with us. If you would please make your way to platoon waypoint, this is your final warning. And then if he follows along and you can see that he's making the effort to get there, that's cool. If you see that he's just not looking to be on program, that's cool. You just say, hey, Bravo 2, this is the second time I've noticed this. I'm just going to go ahead and boot you from the platoon. If at such time you kind of want to follow the waypoints and kill stuff and kick ass with us, you're more than welcome back.
Oh, very good.
It's just really important not to keep or foster an adversarial relationship. Because like as a squad lead, you've got this real difficult position of I'm the boss, and I hate putting it like that. I'm the boss, I give the orders, because I think some folks really, they kind of determine their self-worth based on their planet side 2 experience. But some
Right.
folks are all about being the squad leader, and I think it's just really important to just have basic courtesies. Like a lot of times I'll request stuff. I won't say, hey, this is an order. I'll say, hey, would you please?
Would you please? But I'm going to kick you.
Right. And it all comes down to choice. And this is why I advocate running a structured op. That way it's not one of these issues where hey guys, I want you to please redeploy to the galaxy, and it's like, well, dude, this isn't an official op. Why can't I sit on a hill and snipe? Do you see what I'm saying? So
Right,
as a
right.
squad leader, you can say, hey guys, and I used to do this with Zoo all the time, and say, all right, I'm interested in doing some squad leading. If you'd like to join, please let's go ahead and hop down a channel. That way, people who are interested in soloing or doing mag riders or whatever, they can do their own thing, and I'm not sort of getting all up in their face about it. And if people are interested, hop on down, and with the expectation that we can follow directions. If that
Cool.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take one last question, and then we're going to break and go in game and try a little bit of this out. We can watch you in action as a squad lead, and we've got one of our Victory over IP members who's going to be the platoon lead, and we'll watch that interaction both between you and the platoon lead as well as with you and the squad mates. Tibby LTP asks, do you think it's a good idea to add to an attack in a biolab or other hard to attack base, or try to pull enemies by attacking a smaller base?
I think that it's very important to know the capacities of your units, right? So if you've got 2 squads, you need to go somewhere you can make a difference. If there's like a 96-96 biolab and you've got a squad of dudes, you're going to get bogged down. You're going to lose morale, in my experience. If there are no other smaller fights that you'd rather go to, what I suggest is picking a smaller objective within that larger fight. So, for example, if you're doing a biolab, right? If you're defending a biolab and the NC is just they're crashing in around you, people are really struggling, then you turn your squad or 2 squads into a Sunday hit squad. And what you do is you pull a couple of battle Sundays. That's max blockade armor, and then you put 3 or 4 heavies with decimators in each one. You roll up on the enemy Sunder, everybody gets out, and they rocket it to death. So you set yourself goals that are attainable while at the same time contributing to the fight.